Is this copyrighted? That might be copyrighted. I'm gonna hold off on playing that noise. Or I guess alternatively I could play it now. And we probably wouldn't lose anything of value. I don't want to... We'll play it. I don't want you to waste your points. How's the volume sound and everything, by the way? Volume good? Okay. It's gonna be a little bit different. I had to change my Twitch password. So I'm not sure what to do about the static. We'll try pushing me down a little. I don't know if it's gonna help. Hold on. Is it better? Okay, I just reduced my volume a little bit. I'll go a little bit further, and I'll just try to speak up so you guys can hear me okay? The guest will be on my desktop audio, so I guess we'll have to see. We'll adjust as we go. Yeah, but I had to log out of Twitch and re-sign in, so Streamlabs is not linked up with my Twitch. So I'm managing the Twitch out of the actual web browser, which is different from what I'm used to. And for those of you in the waiting room, just know that I'm gonna have Flaccid on first because he's gonna reveal his matchup. Since they were the first seed before we do anything else. I agree, it is way too difficult. I don't know. I'm gonna give Flaccid a second to get in here. I kind of wanted to lead off with matchups since we got him, Flaccid. No, you know what? We can talk maps first. Let me turn myself on, and I think we can officially get going. I'm gonna pause and go back to the late night jazz. I think that's more our vibe. Okay, so obviously, do any of you in the waiting room, if you're listening, have takes about this past week? Because I guess that's probably the best way to do this. Talk about week 6. So obviously I think the biggest story coming out of the end of the regular season, last Flarebenders don't make playoffs. Really devastating. Just like really devastating. So the 4 non-playoff teams were, as I pull it up because I'm not terribly prepared. It was Last Fairbenders, Responsibles, Puck Patrol, and the Trailer Park Balls all did not make playoffs, so pour one out for them. I think really the only one that's terribly surprising, I think Responsibles. I think Responsibles were probably the biggest shocker from pre-draft to now. The team... Yeah, I mean, I call RSP a surprise. I think people expected Kelvin to be able to carry better than he was able to. And I still, again, like, even though his stats aren't there, when we played him, I thought he was excellent. I thought the team around him just wasn't good enough. I do think that team missing playoffs kind of surprised some people. myself included. I think the other three. I mean, I think we all knew Putt Patrol wasn't going to be very good. There were some people who thought Trailer Park Balls would do okay this season. I never really bought it, so I'm not terribly surprised to see them miss. And then Flare Benders. I think the question was going to be whether they could get acclimated quickly enough to overcome the inexperience, and with the Vigil loss, it was tough to overcome. So I think after that, it wasn't too terrible of a surprise, but it was unfortunate. I think other noteworthy results from week 6, kneecappers, and I will cope a little bit. We did not have Pete. We were loaning Perpendicular from Novice, who's a good player. Not to say that they're not, but we did lose 2-3 against Raw Unstoppables, which will lead into something interesting later. But that was Rig only played 3 weeks this season for Ron. I think he brings such an element of stability to them. I think that team's really not indicative of a record at all. I think that's going to be a dangerous team in the playoffs. I don't know if they got the same Mooper magic that Tag Prof had last season. But I think with Rig, that becomes a much better team. I think week 6 kind of, other than that, played out pretty much how we expected it to. TLF kind of fell apart after they lost game 1, right? Something happened. They lost the game and then they started throwing. Everything else, I think, kind of fell. I'm surprised to see Turtles take 2 off Green Beans. That was an interesting one to me, and actually kind of clutch because they were right on that bubble. Okay, alright, Blob, his thoughts on that. Let's get Blob in here first, then. Blob, we just brought up your series versus Turtles. Talk to me about it. If you
Hello. Hey, what's up? Oh, dude. Oh man, that was alright. Like I knew that was gonna be bad when fucking I think it was game 3 or game 4. MC Ride started tilting, and like that dude's the most like laid back, chill person ever. And like when I heard in his voice he started tilting, I was like, oh god, dude, this is fucking bad. we literally just it was just we just played stupid, man. That's no, but they play. I think the strat. Like I'm still a firm believer. I played on Sunday. I subbed for Snipe Hunt, and we played the Eternal Turtle Majors team.
Yep.
We literally just stayed in their base, or stayed in our base until pups were up. Like nobody went 0.
Yeah, I was able to catch some of that.
Yeah, and like the strat works really well because I think like 4D works really good because if they have a very low chance of grabbing and getting out against you. And then if they're going to be grabbing and like popping themselves, they're going to be a little bit frazzled during pup rounds. So you'll probably have an advantage for setting up. But if you just sit in your base and just hang out and can like set up for pups, you have a higher chance of getting pups. Yep. And then like all the action happens for that like 20 seconds of pups are up. So if you just do that, then you're chill. But yeah, we definitely we definitely got a little tilted there. Brought it back at the end. Yeah, I mean shout out to Eternal Turtle, man. Honestly, pretty cool what they were doing and like changed up the meta. It was it was interesting to play against them. Did you guys play against them?
No, we didn't, and I don't really think we ever scrimmed against them, to be honest with you. So I agree it's interesting what they're doing. I don't know if it's particularly enjoyable to watch or play, but it's different.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's not, man. Oh god, dude. Like Sir Clay at some point, I think it was game 3 it was the one that we lost 4-2. Like Sir Clay just had to leave for like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Like everyone was just silent. It was just this is painful.
That's tough, man.
But yeah, it's definitely a mental battle. against 40 more than anything.
I can believe that. I'm sure it's hard to be engaged for 10 minutes like that.
Yeah, like dude, I think I mean if we end up going with them for our series, they were up on our list. Yeah, I pray for us or whoever gets them that it doesn't go to 7 games for all 8 players. Honestly.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, so speaking of that, I do have the matchups, so let me get Flaccid in here so he can reveal his, and then we'll get the rest of the matchups going.
Alright, right on. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks, Blobsy, man.
Yep.
Alright, let's get Flaccid on here. I am bringing on Flaccid if he undeafens. Oh, he's gone. He's back. Are you ready, Flaccid?
1 second, sorry.
No worries. I know it was sudden.
Okay. Yeah, just a little delay with the stream.
Yeah, no, all good. So you guys obviously first seed after the regular season. I think most people expected you to end up in the top tier of teams, and then you guys went ahead and proved it. Like a ridiculous season, I think, from your entire team.
Yeah, we benefited from a nice schedule, I think. So did some of the other teams towards the top, but yeah, we barely squeaked it out by the skin of our teeth. I don't know if anyone caught that last game, but it was in OT, and I dropped the ball and didn't get the settings right, so we had to redo it and do a golden cap OT. And I think it was on my space, and Drufa was like maybe 2 tiles away from pushing us to second seed with a cap. And thankfully he like let off the gas a little bit, and then we wound up capping in the overtime. But yeah, it was a hard fun match all the way through. We almost flubbed that big time.
Yeah.
But
so everyone's really here for playoff matchups. You guys are number 1. You got first pick out of the bottom 8 playoff teams. Who's your pick and why? Or if
with
you
the
want
first pick in the season 29 MLTP playoff draft, the Pugrats select "Look What You Made Redo."
Ooh, it's kind of spicy, dude. You know, and they didn't have a good week to end the season, but I think Laser Pig actually not bad, dude. It's kind of spicy.
Yeah, you know, I welcome the criticism, but we felt like this was the move we wanted to make. We thought about, there were a couple teams we thought about picking. I guess I'll offer some insight into it. We thought about picking the Turtle team, Eternal Turtles. We thought about picking Converse Ball Stars. And now there was some information revealed about the Converse Ball Stars in the
yes, I did see that.
Miners GM chat. Nas was like, anyone picking us, just know, like, we need a reschedule.
Yeah. Sounds like they're not getting a reschedule.
Depending on who they needed to reschedule, we might have picked them instead. I don't know. But, yeah, we weighed our options, and we went with Look What You Made Redo. We scrimmed them, I think, maybe only one time this season. It wasn't like a blowout or anything like that, but we felt like we could handle them. That was the Aceta week, which is a weird week. But yeah, so that's why we did what we did. I know you told me to have a take ready. I don't really have a take ready. That's too spicy. But I will say, I just want to hype up my teammate real quick. Ballsack123. I think his season, this season, is like maybe like 60% of his ceiling as a player. Dude is gonna be unreal if he keeps playing this game. But that I will leave it at that. And
let me force you to make a take here. What's your series prediction?
Of our series,
yes.
Head-to-head versus Look What You Made Redo, number of games. We do a little trolling. I don't think we can get it done in 4 games, because we'll probably, if we get to a point where we're like up 3-0, we'll probably troll game 4. And we could always troll sooner than that. So I think it will be maybe 4-1 or 4-2 in favor of us. I'm not big enough to lose. I don't think it'll go to 7 games though either.
Fair enough. Thank you, Flaccid.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're not going to do this one by one. Flaccid just asked he's the one to do the draft bit. So I'm going to put up the playoff matchups on the screen now, and we can talk about those. So here you have it. Pugrats versus 15. Look What You Made Redo. Capsicum Blue taking on the Turtles. Green Beans going up against CBS. Land Before Timers versus Reset Theories. A rematch of the Wheat Sits matchup. Kneecappers, Raw Unstoppables. will be Blue versus OPH, Bottle Otters ABO, and then Nuclear Juice versus RTJ. Okay, so quick reaction. Quick reaction on that. Big Bad had to go do major scrims, so I'm gonna bring his take in here. Big Bad's take is that Blockwork and the Bottle Otters will be the best game to watch, and that the RTJ Nuclear Juice matchup will be the PK Button cage match, as they were traded for one another. I do think that's an interesting take about the best game to watch. I do think ABO versus Bottle Otters, I've said it all season, it all hinges on Titan. If Titan's anywhere close to the player we know he can be, if Mudfish helps, if he's able to solve something, that's a really dangerous first opponent for ABO. Jarvis out for revenge, obviously. The Squeeb Jarvis cage match game. I think that's a really interesting matchup. I think the first 4 games, are. I think the high seeds win those. I don't see any of those 4 teams threatening the top 4 seeds. Obviously Raw Unstoppable has just beat us, so I wouldn't count them out to beat us again. I don't think they will, obviously. But they've shown that they're capable, and I've commented before that I think they're a pretty good team with Rig on it. So that's a matchup to watch. Blue versus OPH will be a good one. I know Space said it's destined to go to 7. I would probably agree. OPH not nearly as dominant this season as I thought they may have been. And Blue somehow just wins a series 3-2 or loses a series 2-3. They're very consistently good at dragging teams down into the mud with them. So I think ABO not really good enough to break away. Blue able to keep it close. Interesting. And I think RTJ is the one guaranteed upset here. I don't think Nuclear Juice is any good. Kind of toxic, but I just think RTJ is going to be too good for him. I will bring in Big Bad. Big Bad, I'm going to go 1 second. Jarvis has a bedtime, so I'm going to bring Jarvis in here, and then I'll bring you in, Big Bad. Jarvis, you're on. Are you with me?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
Talk to me about CCB.
Okay, they're not actually going to go anywhere. Where they'll beat Turtles because that team is just terrible, and I don't know how they've won any games besides bamboozling people in game 1. But Cap City and Blue is a totally beatable team. The only player that scares me is King just because he's cracked. But I mean, their offense is very easy to return. They're not really good flag carriers, and I feel like they can be pretty stupid at times. It works in the regular season under lower pressure, but I think in the playoffs they will crack a little bit more and make game-losing decisions where either they will force something or try to be too smart on OD, and they're just not mechanically good. And Rick G is kind of just always there. Like, he's a good regular season stable player, but in the playoffs when the rubber hits the road, he will crack to higher power talent. So Cap City and Blue will win in game 1 because their opponent sucks, and then they'll lose to whoever they play next.
Honestly, I don't hate it, to be honest with you. Like, we scrimmed them a little bit this week, and I think you can see why they have the record they do. I think they're pretty good. But I think you can definitely see some cracks there. I don't know that they're going to get exposed second round, though. I think that's probably a little hot.
I mean, they're going to be going against what? Maybe it'll be my team.
Could be your team, yeah.
Either my team or RTJ or OPH, something like that.
And those are tough teams to play against. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have the mechanical power. That team is just, they stay good on not collapsing, but in the playoffs with higher pressure, and people are making clutch mechanical plays, they're gonna lose. in the
Okay, let me
second round.
transition here because Big Bad did say you guys were going to lose in game one. I know you said you feel pretty confident about beating
Oh,
ABO.
yeah.
Talk to
I
me about
mean-
why you're beating ABO.
Well, because I'm not on ABO anymore, and playoff me is different than regular season me. KL is obviously insane and very hard to kill, but sometimes it's just a playoff factor, and I feel like he'll try to do some stuff that's just too fancy and fail. Red Kill is gonna fix his lag, and he actually played really well last night. I've never been a fan of him, but now I'm kind of getting onto his hype train. I'm not even saying that just because he's my partner. Now I actually think he's doing well. Victor Messi in the playoffs is an immediate fail. He's going to choke. He's never been that good anyways, and I just have to make some shit up to justify putting my team first. And on defense, we'll be out all day against Squeeb. Burt Reynolds is okay, not really going to be effective in the playoffs. So our team is just going to win on mechanics, not doing stupid stuff and being more cohesive.
Yeah, I love it.
Maybe they'll take a game off of us. Usually we start slow, so maybe they'll take game one, but I don't see this series going any more than 5 games.
I love it. And I do think out of these first round matchups, I think as far as upset potential, you guys are definitely, you're up there. So I don't think the confidence is unfounded. So.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest upset is going to be RTJ over Nuclear too.
Well, I honestly, I don't even count it.
Yeah, it's just a seeding live thing,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
OPH should. I mean, I don't know if they should beat Blue. Honestly, that might be the most exciting game besides mine. Your team might be fucked too, honestly.
Yeah, I think our game's gonna be competitive. So, all right, let me move on. I got people waiting, but thank you, Jarvis, for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yep,
Good
see you,
luck
bud.
to all.
Big Bad Ball, you were on the Nightcap. What's up?
What is up, friend?
Talk to me. Talk to me.
I'm kind of surprised by some of these matchups, to be honest with you. I thought for sure Pugrats would be picking Reset Theory. I think that team is terrible, and I thought they should have been picked first. Moving down the list here, I kind of have to disagree with just about everything Jarvis said.
Okay.
The biggest upset, in my opinion, here is if Blockwork Orange is really considered an upset over Bottle Arters. Because I think Blockwork wins that game pretty handily. Not super inspired by anybody on Bottle Otters unless Titan gets his lag fixed. Maybe he did. I don't know. But unless he got that fixed, I don't think that game is particularly close. The rest of these games, I think you're right. Your game will be pretty close. I don't think any of the series will be super blowouty.
Except for yours.
Well, honestly, I don't even know if I would say that because I have a tendency to absolutely throw in the playoffs. So
Yeah, but I think you've stacked the deck enough this time. I think you're gonna manage it.
I really hope so. I'm excited for the PK Button Grudge match since they essentially just swapped teams this season. And now they're playing each other first round. You've actually got ABO Bottle Otters is the same thing.
Yep, exactly.
So that's kind of fun. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I just hope every game gets streamed. We need to make sure that happens this week.
Absolutely. We started off strong in that regard, and people lost momentum, I think, towards the end. But yeah, definitely come playoff time, got to get everything on a stream if we can. So, any other big take from you?
Big takes here. Let me just running down the list here. I think Eternal Turtle could play CCB pretty close.
That's an interesting one.
Especially if they do deploy the 4D strat. I don't think teams are super prepared to handle it yet. I think CCB wins if they play traditional tag pro, they win. But if Turtle does something silly, I could see that team kind of tilting off a little bit. Not really tilting off, but just not knowing how to handle it. Everything else, Green Beans should beat Ball Stars, LBT should beat Reset Theory, you and Stoppaballs will be close. OPH versus Blue could be a good game. It just depends on which OPH team shows up. Honestly, we're scrimming them tomorrow night, so we'll see what kind of mental they're in. But,
yeah, they confused me.
They always confuse me, man. It's such a wild card team.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get to some more people if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for stopping by, Bib Bib.
Yeah, man.
Russ has been waiting a while. Let's try to get Russ in here. Russ, can you hear me? I'll give you a few seconds. While I'm waiting on Russ, should he decide he wants to say something, we can go ahead and show maps here too. Oh, he left. I guess he's not interested. Let's get Kat. Well, I know Kat wants to talk about pods, so let's do that before we do maps. Kat, you're in. What's up, dude?
All right, so pods are dumb. We all know that, right?
We know it.
Okay, so I was running some math to prove how dumb pods are.
Okay.
What I did here is I took a D20 and I rolled it to simulate matchups, essentially. So, in the way we currently have pods, there's 3 independent events on which pods you drew. In a regular season, there would be 6 independent teams that you play.
Mm-hmm.
Either 3 dice or 6 dice, 20 different times for each. Now, my standard deviation for which teams were getting the easiest schedule was 3 times higher with the 3 dice method rather than the 6 dice. Meaning that teams are playing like 80% easier schedules compared to other teams in the league when you use the 3 independent pod system. Whereas with the 6 independent team system, they're playing like at most 20% easier teams.
And can you, I guess so. Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. I guess what. But I guess I struggle to understand because you're gonna play. Like, let's say there's no pod system, right? And you're just playing six random teams in the league. I mean, the chances that you have like the same schedule as your current pod mate is randomly possible, isn't it? Like, I guess I don't understand how grouping them into pods significantly affects.
What significantly impacts it is there's less new random events, right? Like, sure, you could end up with the same 6 if you go true random, but that's 1 in something like 600 and something. It's so ridiculously impossible,
right?
That's just not going to happen. So there's going to be more variance. There's going to be more teams playing different teams, which means that like the separation gets to be bigger.
Would you be interested? I guess. So this is you're saying all preseason is what we're talking about, right? Like how we determine schedule preseason, right?
Yeah, well, the fact that we picked based off pods.
Right. So would you be in favor or think it would be beneficial to have some sort of dynamic schedule that changes as the season goes along?
That would not be a problem to me mathematically. I do think it is a pain to schedule that way.
Sure, and I can see that.
I think that's a logistics issue more than anything else. But I wouldn't be not in favor of it. But with 20 teams, like, and 16 teams making it, none of this really matters. I just want to make sure we don't do pods again in the future because they suck.
Gotcha. Any takes about your first round matchup against Look What You Made redo?
Honestly, I have not watched them play a single game.
So what I'm gathering is you're so unconcerned about the matchup you haven't even watched them yet.
Well, what I'm saying is I like to block for Scorch, and Scorch likes to take those blocks, and I think that's gonna be okay.
I don't sell yourself short. You're up there in the statistical categories.
Yeah, I don't want people to think that. I want them to all sleep on me on that.
Yep, I gotcha.
All right, you can talk to somebody else. I got my math nerding out.
Thanks, Kat. Appreciate you.
All right, see ya. Bye. How are you?
All right. Before we bring in I see I have Costanza and Yelpa and VC. I'm going to release the maps really quick since we're a fair amount of time in. So your maps for this playoffs are Titanic, Thicket 2, Aceta, Audacity 2, Joji, Catch-24, Willow 2, and Moonbase. And I think we hate Thicket. Not Thicket. I think we hate Titanic. I think we hate it. Aceta's an interesting one. I didn't want to play it because if you go back and look at the Aceta week, there was so much variance on who beat who that week. It was shocking to me. Like, all of these teams that were facing lower tier teams, they either played closer games or they lost on them. It's a very chaotic map. I think that's going to help some teams pull off some upsets. Comments? No Jardum is crazy. That's been a staple in the playoffs for a long time. That's a really interesting exclusion. And honestly, it may have been that everyone was so sure someone was going to pick Jardum that no one picked Jardum. Which, I mean, it'll be interesting to shake it up. Yeah, but there are a really wide array of maps here. No one particular style. I could see you going a 1-0 game on Catch-24 or something, and then like a Moonbase 9-8. That'll be an interesting change of pace from game to game in the series. That's really interesting. I'm gonna take. Not sure who showed up between Koos and Yelpa first, so let me get Koos in here first. Koos, you're on, if you can hear me.
Oh, hello.
What you got, man?
No, it's just some interesting maps. So Titanic's the one that's cut off by your by the matchups.
Am I counting? Oh, hold on. I can move it.
66, yeah.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I just didn't grab the whole screenshot. Let me check.
Unlucky. Oh, yeah, you didn't.
No, that's the full screenshot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 8 maps. We're good.
Oh, wait, but you moved. I only see 6 on the. I'm trolling.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, we got him.
Well, what do you? I like him. I think, say what you want about Aceta, and obviously everyone thinks it's like, a wacko map, but I think this map pool kind of will test teams that can play in multiple different styles.
Oh,
right?
I completely agree. This is such a wide range of map style. It's gonna be like I said, you're like go from like Catch-24 to Aceta. It's just such a huge change. It's
Right.
really interesting.
Like, there was definitely a world in which we had like Meryl, Jardum, Moonbase, and like all these ones that are just teams. Let's just play as fast as we can. But that's all right. That's good. I think we got some good ones in there.
Did you ever take on besides maps that you wanted to get in?
Oh, I had an interesting question for discussion, and it was this idea that I was thinking about it on the way I was driving back home. Like, I'm preparing to listen to the Nightcap. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, what should we talk about? Is there a weird thing in here that's like an asterisk of sorts because so many people have been having such a weird lag problem? If it kind of persists into the playoffs, does it all of a sudden, like, there are some people that will be able to use lag as a bit of a crutch, I think.
Yeah, I think people probably would. Just like you still get people ragging on like Megatron for the season 19 Super Bowl, like calling it a weak season and all that. I just like people will go back and say that this was a lad season, like a Mickey Mouse ring and all that. I think enough people are affected by this, and there's are somewhat of a solution in Mudfish. I don't know. To me, it doesn't matter. But I think people will use it as an excuse for sure.
I get the sense that because the regular season was so much of a everyone's decided what the situation is going to be by about week 3 or 4. The playoffs are obviously the true test. So, but I do think the fact that there are such a long playoffs, you have to win. What is it? 4 series to win the title, right?
Yep.
One.
16,
that does
8, 4. Yep.
Like I don't think you can really have an asterisk next to the title because you'll have to beat at least 2-3 really good teams, and I mean there are no real favorites. I think at this point, I mean you could obviously look and say the top 4 or 5 seeds probably got there on purpose, but good luck trying to pick somebody. Like who's to say whether we're better than the Pugrats or if the Green Beans are better than. Like I feel like whenever we score against Blob, I'm always pissed off because we end up like having some weird scores where we're like down like 9-2. So I mean, this is going to be quite a playoffs here.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And again, I think part of it is just how many teams there were. It's like impossible to know how good these teams are until they actually play each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like first round, I think we'll be relatively unsurprised with who wins. But as we get into the Equidistant 8 and the Foci 4, I think that's going to be really interesting to watch because I think some of these higher seeds might stumble a little bit.
I'll put you on the spot between OPH, Blockwork, and RTJ. Who's got the best chance of beating a top seed in the next round? Should they
Blockwork, RTJ? I would take. Ooh, that's tough.
Because they all have it's one of those things where they are all types of teams where if the things fall right, we shouldn't be surprised if they're even in the Mooper.
Yeah, I think just because I think KL is so talented. Like I think KL pure talent wise is better than anyone in RTJ, and to me that matters a lot in playoffs. So I would take AB over RTJ, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone said RTJ.
Yeah, I think KL is probably the jukiest player we played so far, but that was also back in week 1 when things were very different than they are now.
Yeah, but I would say it still holds true. I think regardless of our roster changes, he's still probably the best offender we've played so far.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, Scorch was good too, but
oh no, for sure.
The for people that don't quite understand, please, the things are very different now than they were back in week 2. That's the thing I'm curious about is we have not really faced a team on have any of the teams besides Ron. I guess Nuclear Jukes also made the playoffs.
They did. I don't really consider them a strong playoff team though.
We played 3 playoff teams, 4 playoff teams. I guess it's hard not to play playoff
right,
teams. Right,
exactly. Everyone did pretty much. But yeah, I like we've scrimmed against some higher tier teams and had success too. So I don't think we're.
Who's got the most playoff opponents in terms of? Let's think. I don't even know which pod has played the best.
I'd have to go through it. I don't know that off the top of my head.
If you've played a good schedule, put it in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm gonna try to get on the Yelp here if you don't mind.
Gotcha.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Love it.
See you. Yelpa, I apologize to keep you waiting. Are you with us?
You mean on this plane of existence?
Maybe just in this voice channel.
I'm here. I have things to say.
Talk to me. What do you got?
Okay. One, we don't play 4D. Just get that out of the way.
Hey, could you repeat that for the people in the back?
We do not play 4D.
Thank you.
However, I believe your pod buddy was OPH, right? The 13 seed.
Correct.
And you were tied at the end of the regular season, right?
Correct.
Did you take a look at the last game of OPH's season?
I did not get to see it, no.
Okay, I'm going to DM it to you now. They played Responsibles. Game 5, Responsibles. This was not streamed, but if you look at the EU there, Responsibles had 12 minutes of prevent. They admitted to playing 4D in that game.
Wow, you're not joking.
I'm not joking.
Look at that.
The reason why you are a 5 seed right now and not a 13 seed is because Responsibles decided to do something absolutely silly and play 4D.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So I guess people are actually doing the meme, but that's not us. That's not us. And seeing these matchups, I am surprised Puggrass didn't take Reset Theory. I'm surprised that Capsy and Blue did not take Reset Theory. I think that was a mistake. I've known Boogie for how long? We've known Boogie for how long? We're on the same USC team. I know more about Boogie. Yeah, I know more about Boogie than Boogie knows about himself. I know more about the King. I know the King's tendencies from pubbing with him for 9.5 years. I am very, very confident going into this week.
I love that, and we talked about it briefly. You guys taking 2 of 3 or 2 of 5 against Green Beans in this final week. To me, I mean, that's so important for you guys going into playoffs because Green Beans is one of those top 4 teams, right? Who everyone expects to make a mover run. To be competitive with them going into your first playoff round, and I think people had their doubts about Capsody and Blue. I think that's really intriguing.
I think Green Beans is very good. Blob is amazing. Prime is, I guess, decent. I don't know. Circle will comment about fornicating with your female dog in game to tilt you, and MC Ride is very, very promising. And I hope Converse Ball Stars, whenever they play, whatever day and time they play, they are ready for a battle there because Green Beans is going to bring it.
I agree completely. Go ahead, sorry.
Speaking of matchups, your matchup with Unstoppables.
Yep.
That's going to be a barn burner.
I think so. I've said it a couple times. I really do think Rig just made such a huge difference for them. Like they only had him for 3 weeks. They had him for half the season, and they got him back for last week when we played him, or I guess yesterday. And gosh, I think the difference he makes is tremendous. And then when they have time, that offensive tag prof and Etso can really be dangerous. I mean, that was the first offense, and Kusa and I were even talking about it mid-game. That was the first offense we played against this season that, actually looked like they were coordinated and trying to work together and to set up blocks and to move us out of base. That was the most coordination I've seen out of an offense pair this season. And if Rid's able to give them that stability back there on defense, I think they're really dangerous. I think our series is going to be really competitive. So
yeah, I think whoever wins your series is going to go to the FOSAT 4.
I would. I don't know. I don't want to. I guess who would we play second round?
I know.
Like who would pick a? I guess who would pick a second round? If we win, we're picking. I guess nowhere to 5 seed. Oh.
All depends what happens in the other games,
Yeah, I'll say this. I think you're right in that no matter which one of us wins, the next round is completely winnable, and yeah. I think that's as far as I'll go.
Well said. Never give your opponents,
that bulletin board material.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, the 13, 12, and 11 seeds, they're really top 8 seeds here. I think we should look at them as favored over 6, 7, and 8, not to discount Blue, Bottle Otters, who are going to be very strong against ABL and Nuclear Jukes. So it's going to be an interesting first week of playoffs. The Secant 16 or whatever it is that.
Yeah, what are we calling it? Do you know?
The people in Chicago cooked up.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Anything else for us, Yelpa?
Probably, but you know what? I've got to go and get some rest so I can go to store.streamelements.com/Yelpa and buy some more Eternal Turtle merchandise.
Love it. Thanks, Yelpa.
All right. Thank you.
See
Namaste.
Okay, just a reminder, Since Big Bad, you have more Tates, by the way. Is that why you're in there? If you do want to call in with a take, I've posted the Discord link a couple times. I will post it one more time. Hop in the Nightcap waiting channel, voice channel. I will pull you in if you do have a take. Mooper prediction Tates? We can do that. Oh, Boogie's here. Let me get Boogie in. He hasn't spoken yet. Boogie, you are muted and deaf. Hello? Hello?
Yo, you
What's
hear
up,
me?
man? Yeah, I can now. What's up?
I just think it's interesting how much attention we get. You know,
It is kind of interesting. You've gotten and honestly, I've been contributing a little bit for the content, but it is interesting. You've had a couple different people come out and say maybe your guys aren't as good as you think you are.
I don't know why we're the one team everybody enjoys shitting on. Like, you look at Pugrats, they had arguably an easier schedule than we did. I mean, I'm not sure the Green Beans are all that great. LBT I know is solid. We played them, and that was easily our hardest game of the season. But I do think there's like a lot of parity, and it's going to be kind of crazy getting into the Elite Eight. But I mean, we've scrimmed most of these teams and done well. So I don't know.
You
like all you can do is play the teams
in front of you,
before
absolutely.
you. You know.
Absolutely, I'm with you on that. And when you guys did play them, you generally demolished them. So I don't know. I agree. There's really not much else you can prove other than I think just winning in the playoffs at this point.
I think it's like partially preseason expectations, but like Rick G and the King are a sick defense.
Oh, they're
like,
outstanding. I mean, they're like tons better. Like, I was one of the doubters. I'll admit that. They're so much better than I thought they'd ever dream to be. I mean, they're really freaking good.
And depth, like, I just work well with, you know, and I don't know. I'm not amazing, but give me a good partner and it can be pretty solid, especially with, you know, an actual defense in there.
Yeah, for sure. You got Yelpa first round. Any concerns with that?
I mean, a little bit, you know, if they do their kind of brick wall defense, but I think, I don't know, you look at the teams, I think we have the talent that over 7 games, I can maybe see us losing 1 or 2, but it's hard to see them winning in 7.
I would agree. So I'm curious though. So since you are playing against the Turtles, are you guys devoting any energy to thinking about playing against a potential 4D team might look like, or what you would do differently, or are you can do anything different, or?
Yeah, we've already gotten some feedback from teams that have played it in majors, and just going over VODs, you know, kind of like know what to expect.
Sure.
When to send 3, but I don't know. It makes pups so like even more strategic than usual. So it's gonna be annoying for sure. I kind of regret it. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to play.
Yep. Any other hot takes on the rest of these playoff matchups? Any upsets you see coming?
I kind of like one that nobody's talked about is Nuclear Jukes is coming into the playoffs hot. You guys love to shit on them, but I like that team has some talent. I can see them pushing Returns of the Jedi.
Who'd they play last final week? Do you know?
I have.
They 4-1 ABO. I did not know that.
Yeah, and I mean ABO had like 1 sub in.
Oh, really?
For Irony, I think, but it was still like a pretty dominant performance. And I think they played solid the week before, so that seems to me like a team that's peaking at the right time. I don't think that's a I don't know, complete like walkover like people are treating it.
Interesting. It's hard for me because when we played them, it was not competitive really. So it's hard for me to overcome the personal experience.
I mean, it was kind of the same for us with Unstoppables. I mean,
True,
they put up
sure.
a fight, but like they've gotten better. Like teams improve.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know? Yeah, I guess that's my one. I don't really see anything else that somebody hasn't already said, but I think that's possible.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on and defending the CCB name a little bit.
Yeah, no, I can't let us be slandered
I hear you, man.
constantly.
All right, thanks,
All right,
Cody.
man.
I'll see you.
See it.
We'll bring Big Bad back on. Big Bad, you still with us?
Sorry, I was muted. I sure am.
What you got, man? Maps and Mooper? Is that what we're doing?
Maps and Mooper, as far as the maps go, and I didn't actually realize this until Stream Chat pointed it out, we've got like, I know Jardum is kind of shocker, but we've got a crazy variety of just like the slowest, most boring tag pro maps of all time, and then Aceta and Moonbase where you're going to see games that are like 9 to 7. So I think it's going to lead to some crazy matchups, and it's going to be pretty fun. I don't know if we've seen this variety in a playoff rotation in a long time.
I off the top of my head, I can't think of one so extreme.
Joji, honestly, like, is a terrible map. I cannot believe we put that in rotation, and I'm partially responsible for that. So that's kind of tough to see that in playoffs.
I believe Joji was the like 5 overtime map in minors like 2 years ago. Like there were like endless overtimes on it. It was tied like 2-2. Very boring map. It can be.
Yeah, that map and Catch 24, you're gonna see games that are 1-1 going to overtime, or 0-0, or 1-0 kind of games, which is kind of tough for playoffs. But you know, it is what it is. Moonbase, Aceta, Titanic will be interesting. Titanic will be interesting because it's the only 3-pup map, so I'll be curious to see if the higher seeds decide to just outright ban that for the pup variety, unless they feel that they're gonna control that and use that as a weapon.
Well, I wonder. I guess I don't really want to give away pick ban strats, but to me, the one that jumps off as instantly bannable is Aceta, just because I think I already touched on it, but the disparity of results on that map compared to what we saw the rest of the regular season, it just feels so chaotic. I think lower seeds can definitely take advantage on that map.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think most teams will ban either Titanic or Aceta outright. I could see teams banning Joji just for wanting to avoid playing that fucker, but Aceta for sure. As far as the Mooper goes.
Yeah, let me stop you 1 second. Someone did ask, since we are talking about the Mooper, what's the most likely Mooper if you were to take 2 teams from the same pod to play
I was
in it?
just going to mention that.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obviously either Pugrats Blockwork or RTJ CCB if you had to pick 2 from the same pod. I think Pugrats Blockwork's actually probably a little bit more likely, but I think those are the only 2 that are even possible.
Yeah, I don't know all of the pod pairings off the top of my head, but that does seem about right, I think.
Yeah, I think, and this is assuming, I mean, I think it's equally as likely that CCB and RTJ lose week 1 of playoffs for reasons that have already been discussed. I didn't realize Nuclear Jukes actually 4-1'd last week against ABO.
Yeah, I mean, with the caveat, it was Spheroid and...
Oh, okay, never mind. I take that back.
Toxic.
But, you know, I think it'll be... I think if you have to pick a pod, it'll be that. I think looking over this now and kind of the more I think about it, I think it's extremely likely that we see kneecappers in the Mooper.
I don't know. I really do think Unstoppables is a good team, and I'm a little concerned.
Do we know if they're going to have Rig for the first round of playoffs? I'm assuming they will.
I believe he's playing all playoffs. I mean, I don't know if that's completely accurate. But
what was y'all's series score this past week?
it was 2-3, and we had Perpendicular playing instead of Pete.
Okay, I mean that's a pretty even series, all things considered. Then.
Yeah, I thought so.
So would like to know why you picked playoff Cruel for round 1.
Well, so for those unfamiliar, in order to pick a playoff opponent, you rank the potential opponents from 1 down to the seed number that you are. So we were the 5th seed. We ranked 5 teams, and guess who our 5th team was? Ron. So that was the team we least wanted to play out of the 5 that we had listed. So yes, we picked them technically, but not high on our list.
I think that's probably fair. Looking at it, if I was in y'all's shoes, I would have probably done the rankings the exact same way.
Yeah, and I guess I'll leave the rankings for content here. I had ranked. So my preference from wanting to play most to wanting to play least was Converse Ball Stars, Eternal Turtles, look what you made redo, RST, Ron Stoppable, OPH, ABO, and then RTJ. So I guess maybe you make an argument that one of OPH, ABO, or RTJ you want to play over Ron Stoppables, but I don't think I agree with that.
I mean, y'all did kind of smoke us in scrims the other night. But
We're talking about practice, dude.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think I probably rank those similarly. I already made it clear where I put Reset Theory in that order, but it's about that same order otherwise. OPH is a free win. I don't think so. Let's see. PK goes. I mean, you had 3 other options. Did they though? PK. Like. I don't
really want to play any of those 3. Yeah. Like I think for all the hype I'm giving the Ron, they're not the. Maybe OPH, but I don't think they're the team that ABO or TJ are.
OPH just depends so heavily on which version of that team shows up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if playoffs is the time you want to play the Excel lottery. So.
Yeah, agreed.
That's fair. I don't really have much else. I just wanted to come talk that and see what else you've got for me. But
well, I guess so. We did the pod thing. If you did lock in a Mooper matchup, who do you have? And excluding yourself, unless you really think, you know what I mean.
I mean, excluding myself, I think I do truly think we'll see you, the kneecappers, make a run. Sugar's been an absolute menace on offense, and playing against y'all the other night, they're already working just insanely well together on offense, and it's really tough to play against. So that's going to be a really tough team to beat. Probably, if I had to pick somebody other than to play with, just because the way the seeding works, either Pugrats is for the, they're the number 1 seed standard pick kind of thing, but I could also see OPH making a run as well, or not OPH, Blockwork Orange. I've been high on that team for quite some time. Kind of surprised they didn't end up winning their pod. But yeah, I think that team could easily make a run in the playoffs.
We have not talked, and I meant to make this a point of discussion early, but we've not talked regular season awards. I don't know that we necessarily need to spend too much time on it. But who's your MVP?
Oh God, I haven't even thought about that. I mean, it would honestly be wild to give the MVP to Sugar coming in halfway through the season, but I think if there's ever a season you can make that argument, this might be the one to do it.
Yeah, and I honestly kind of agree with you. I think and the trouble is we're just not high enough in the standings for that to happen. But the guy shows up. We've won 2 games over 2 weeks. And I don't think we're a horrible team, but we weren't winning. And then he shows up, and he's up to, I think, 4th on the cap board at the end of the regular season. He's missed 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of.
He's top 5 in caps. That's kind of nuts, dude. And
yeah.
And we have not, aside from this past week. I mean, we have been our production has been bonkers, and our series scores have usually been pretty bonkers too. I would make the case for him. I think if you don't believe that someone who joined late can be an MVP, I think maybe someone like Scorch or probably the King for CCB probably gets the nod.
Both Scorch and the King have had crazy seasons. I wasn't expecting that kind of output from them going into the season, so that's been pretty impressive. I think I'm probably with you on that. If you had to pick somebody that has been there the entire time, that you could go that route, but I mean, it's hard to argue against Sugar here.
Yeah. Now for the, I guess, minor major awards, do you think you deserve DBOS?
No, I've had a fucking dog shit season, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Kind of low key being carried by hype right now. So I think I've played decent. We had one really good week. Hype and I were, I think I got the 10 D-Gasp and he had like the 9.8. I think that was the week we played Pup Patrol, which, you know, whatever. But I've not played very well at all. So no, there's been defenders that have played a lot better than me. I think if we make a run in playoffs, you could maybe make an argument for either me or Hype, but I would not put myself in that conversation right now.
Yeah, to me, if it's not the King winning MVP, I think he wins DBOS for me. If he does take MVP, I think you got to consider Flaccid Trip probably, or maybe Ginseng. I know he's got high return numbers. I think sometimes that's misleading.
Yes, in a season like this, when you've got so many teams, the individual stat numbers can be a little bit misleading. But yeah, I mean, Blob's had a good season. Ginseng's had a good season.
Blob's playing offense,
obviously
too.
had a really good season. Blob's playing offense. Never mind. Sorry.
No, you're good. Well, I guess since you mentioned offense, OBOS, who do you think? If it's not Sugar.
I mean, if it's not Sugar, I mean, honestly, you can make the argument for Sweaty Pete being his partner. Blob's, like I said, Blob's had a good season. There are. I'd have to look. I haven't paid a ton of attention.
I mean, to me, if Scorch not MVP, it's Scorch pretty
Yeah.
clearly to me. I think either of the CCB offenders have a good argument. But that's kind of the trouble when they're both up there. It's hard to pick one. Like in Cat Puke has an argument too. I know he doesn't want people to shout about his stats, but he's second in caps. He's got 72 of them. You know, it's not shabby.
No, it's if there's ever a case to make an argument for these awards to be done at the end of playoffs and to take playoffs into consideration, this might be the season for it.
Yeah, and we that was a point of discussion. Gosh, like way back when we first started the season, and I think we really should, because I mean, sit weeks against the schedules that we've seen teams have. I just don't think it's a good enough data point.
Exactly. I know in the past a lot of the awards start to be decided at the end of regular season, which I guess is how most sports leagues do it, whatever. But I mean, at this point, you've got 4 weeks of playoffs to go against 6 weeks of regular season for the eventual champion. Like, that's 66%. I think you almost have to consider playoffs, and we'll see who rises to the top from that.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I don't know if we can get a captain's veto in that or something, but I think that'd be worth exploring.
I think we could probably realistically wait until after the first round to get the award ballot out or to get that process started, but we'll see from there. I'll bring it up with the CRC.
I forgot you were CRC there for a second, so yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Is Blaster and Ray taking your rookie of the seasons on both sides?
I mean, who else would it be?
Kane's a rookie.
Okay, well, yeah.
Assuming it's not him.
Assuming he doesn't win. Can you win OBOS or MVP, OBOS?
Yeah, they let you win multiple. Yeah.
Alright, well, that's probably him for sure. Yeah, thanks, Sel. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of other rookies.
Ballsack's another one that's been mentioned.
I don't think they realistically are probably going to win any of the awards, but I think it would be fun to at least get them on the podium.
Yeah, I think offenders, I don't really see a clear rookie winner, like statistically. So I think you could make the case for Blaster if you really felt the progress he made was good this season.
Yeah, it'll be. Like I said, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to stats outside of my own teams. I haven't even looked at stats from this past week. So
yeah, Blob shouts out MC Ride. That's another good shout.
MC Ride's a rookie?
He's got him loaned for minors before. I don't think he's played a full season previously.
Huh, that's news to me. best value. Probably. Could make an argument there.
All right, I think that's my awards talk.
Yeah, I don't think I have much more.
Okay.
either.
If anyone in the chat has anything else, I'll give you a second or two. And if not, we'll probably sign off for the night, unless I've missed anything big. I think we covered the gamut though, to be honest with you.
One thing that I forgot my team wanted me to mention in our series against LBT this past week, the lag demon struck at the end, so we were playing, and this is on Chicago, mind you. We were playing. The series was 2-2 going into game 5. We were tied 2-2 with like maybe 50 seconds left because the last round of pups had just spawned, and all of a sudden 3 people in the game all just violently lag out, and it was all 3 of my teammates.
Oh Lord.
So I'm stuck playing a 4v1 there. So they end up winning that game, obviously. So I don't think we dodged the Dallas scam by playing other servers, and if that happens in the playoffs, that could be interesting for some of these matchups.
Pete asked, can we get best playoff excuses? I think Lad's going to be the main one.
Yeah.
Dallas bad. I think
Lag
that's
will
going to be...
absolutely be the main one. I was even trying to scrim with Majors earlier on Atlanta, and it was a steady 300 ping for everybody. We couldn't even play Atlanta, so I don't know if it's all servers or Tag Pro or what, but something is going wrong.
Oh, I will say, actually, should I progress far enough in the playoffs, I will be at a work conference in California the week of March 11th. So if I lose that series while I'm in California, that's going to be my excuse.
All right, y'all are going to lose to Ron this week anyway.
It could happen, dude. Could happen.
It absolutely could. Rig's the difference maker there.
Anyone else in chat got anything? I think we're winding down.
Yeah.
Okay. Big Bad, thank you for stopping by the second time and hanging out with us.
Of course, anytime.
I will talk to you later.
Yeah, man.
See you. All right, everyone. That's probably going to do it for me. Appreciate all of you tuning into the stream. I think we covered a fair amount, got the matchups and maps out. If you have the opportunity to stream a playoff game this week, please take the opportunity. We need it. And gosh, really looking forward to the playoffs. So best of luck to you that are playing. And I will not do that refined. And we will see you next time. GG's, everyone.